Hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on this classic wooden motor cruiser here in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup Geordie, all the while fixing it up for some pretty ambitious cruising someday. If that's the sort of thing you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. I'd love to have you. This week I have to deal with the problem I created last week by moving the chain over from Poem to Geordie, which is wonderful, except, as you know, that chain jams in the windlass on Geordie. So I have two options. I can either move all the chain back from Poem to Geordie, which means I'd have an awful lot of chain in here on Geordie, or I can bite the bullet and bring the windlass over from Poem, which is something I knew I was going to have to do anyway. Well, there's no way around it. I'm going to have to swap the windlass over if I'm going to be able to safely anchor on Geordie this summer. And it's not a project I wanted to do right now, but like everything else, just got to dive in. Okay, nuts and bolts and then a heavy chunk of bronze. As the first order of business is going to be removing the chain so that I can actually get the windlass off the chain, I have to make sure I lash this anchor down so I do not lose it, because I'd really rather not. There we go. Now I can cut off the wire tie. Let's just put this through here for a little added security. And we can let the chain go down near the chain locker. Okay. Now, it's just a matter of getting these bolts out, which is not going to be easy because they're long and they're deep into this mahogany with a lot of sealant. That was a lot easier. Quite well bedded. And unfortunately, it was bedded with a sealant rather than butyl, so it's quite a project to get off again. Okay, let's try a little brute force. Ah, that did it. Okay. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, yes. Oh, what a beast. What a beautiful beast. Whew. That is heavy. Alright, so this swapping the windlass over project is a bit daunting. In 2 weeks I have to leave this marina and then spend the next 4 months cruising continuously, which means I need absolutely reliable anchoring. And the truth is that windlass never really was reliable, but removing it leaves me with at least a moment of vulnerability. Now, with any luck, in 2 weeks I could get the new windlass in and working, but I'm a bit short on mahogany right now, and I can't get any dressed up for this exact project. So it's going to be installed, yes, interimly, temporarily. It'll be in the exact same place and the hole in the deck will be the same, but in time I also want to make a nice big mahogany base for it, which won't necessarily add much strength, but it'll be prettier, and when I rebuild the whole foredeck there's quite a few things going on there. Let's get it in, secure and functional. That's the priority. Okay. Don't let me down. So let's see if we can, yeah, this is not going to be fun. Oh, that loosened easier than I thought it would. Holy moly. There's 4 1/2-inch bolts, carriage bolts, coming through the rusty mess upstairs and attached to the rusty mess down here. And if the bolts all come off that easy, I will be amazed. Too easy, way too easy. A window right here would be super handy. Some of you will be familiar with this space from last year's antics with the Windlass. I'm not sure there's enough light for you to see what's going on up here, but that beast has got to come down, and it looks like it might not be as difficult as I'd originally feared. Okay, so I have tethered the whole assembly up so that as I start to wail on it after I cut the chain, the whole thing will not collapse onto me and I can lower it gingerly. That's the plan anyway. All right, fire extinguisher at hand and safety goggles on. Let's say goodbye to this chain, shall we? Oh boy. Oh, yeah. No fun. And if I thought that was unpleasant, this will certainly take the cake. Let's see if there's any chance of this just coming down. It looks like it will. There we go. And down it goes. Whew. Wow. All right. Is there any chance this will just, oh my God. Too easy. Oh. The entire flange was right off the actual windlass. I would not have survived a couple more anchorings with this. I knew it was bad, but I didn't really realize it was that bad. Ugh. Nice bronze hawsepipe thing here, but it's been cut on the inside and it's lost its cap decades ago, so not all that useful, but I'm not going to throw it out. So in an effort to reduce the likelihood of pulling up big sheets of fiberglass, I'll see if I can score it a bit here. I could get my fine tool out and actually cut it, but as all this is going to need major repairs very soon, I'm not going to worry about this too much. How about that? Have you ever actually broken an Olfa knife with your bare hands? Oh well. Huh. Yeah, nice. Took half the deck with it. All right then, let's see what we have to work with here. Okay, so there's no denying this is a bit of a mess. The deck is, well, it's rotten from years and years of water ingress around this old windlass. So there's going to need to be a rather large cutout patch here. It's actually not going to be that bad because there's solid timber underneath the deck to about here, both sides, and there's a beam here and there's a beam here, so it won't be that bad a patch. But I'm not doing it this week, but I do need to get anchoring soon. So I'm going to do the, well, perhaps unthinkable, but I'm going to clean this up, I'm going to level it off, and I'm going to put a patch of 3/4 inch marine grade plywood over this and bed it down, install the windlass on that. It'll bolt through. There's a huge timber below which is in good shape, which will take all the bolts. Here is the template for the new windlass, and it'll basically drop in Happily, it ends up exactly on the center line because the offset from the center line of the windlass to the Gypsy is exactly the same offset as the anchor is offset. So that worked out really nice. So, in many ways, because this needs major work upcoming, the interim version of it won't be that big a job. It won't be pleasant. And it's raining. So here's what we were dealing with. Oh my gosh, this had it. The flange is completely missing on this side. Ah, the poor old beast. Shaft is bent and loose. And this gearhead, gosh knows what it's from because it's got some extra sophisticated stuff on it. But yeah, I am so glad to be done with this. Okay, so how about those cool long shots in the intro for this week's episode? Well, of course, they were shot with a beautiful DSLR with a relatively long lens on it. Thank you very much, Lady Zephyrus. But, of course, the audio had to be shot remotely, and I was gifted some time ago the Rode Go wireless mic, and it's fantastic. And I've only used it a few times, and I'll tell you why. It all has to do with this 3.5mm jack on it, which is the audio output for it. Awesome. The only problem is I shoot everything on a GoPro, and the GoPro does not have any form of 3.5mm input on it. So there's no way to connect this to this. Well, not quite. Enter the Media Mod. Okay, so this is a GoPro product. That's basically a cage that wraps around the GoPro, and lo and behold, of the various ports it also has a 3.5mm input. So we can now put regular audio jack input into the GoPro. Now here's where it gets complicated. So to set this up, it requires removing the standard GoPro mount off the bottom, which I have slightly modified to add a tripod mount. Folding in these little dingles that are the base for it. Opening and removing the door. Does that feel weird? Opening the door on the Media Mod. Lining up the USB-C connector in there with the one in here. Sliding the GoPro in. Setting it home. Latching it shut. Okay, now there's a hole in the bottom for the little tripod mount foldy things to come back out again. Fold those back out. Take your tripod mount again, realign it here, put the screw back in. It only fits on one side because of this little divot in the case. Screw that back up again, which is not always so easy. Okay, so we've got it in the Media Mod. Now we've got to add all this. Happily, the Rode has a tiny little lapel clip, which doubles as a clip that goes into one of the two cold shoes on the Media Mod. Neat. Open the door, take the shorty wire, plug it in. All right, we're getting close. Little button on the bottom of the Rode. Hold it for 3 seconds. It'll boot up. Hold the same button on the bottom of the transmitter for 3 seconds. It'll boot up. And if the blue light's on, it means they're paired. All of this is super cool. The only problem is it takes forever to set up and use. Worse yet, and I won't go through the whole process again, the SD card and the battery are so deeply embedded in this assembly that changing the battery or card during the day when I'm filming is a pretty laborious affair. So here comes the excuse. I've had this for quite a while. In fact, it was a gift from the Amazon wish list. Thank you very much. In fact, I even had the Media Mod case from my old GoPro 8, both of which were gifts. I used it a few times, and this frustration kind of wore me down because otherwise using the GoPro itself is kind of a grab and go. However, I'm going to make an effort to endorse using this setup in the future, not so much for the distance the wireless mic offers, but for the wind noise cancellation. Now, of course, it's really fun to use the wireless microphone to be able to take shots a long way from the camera. But what's really powerful about the Rode wireless mic system is its omnidirectional noise canceling microphone. and it does a fantastic job of that, especially when it's coupled with this windsock here, or dead cat, whatever you want to call it. I can tell you it is windy enough here that if I was shooting this shot with the GoPro alone, it would be horrible. And for those of you who've been watching the show for a little while, you know that wind noise has always been a problem on the show. So hopefully no more.
If you're curious how I got those spiffy smooth outside pans, it's with this spiffy little motorized slider car gizmo, which actually I was also gifted and I use from time to time. It's lots of fun.
So while we're talking toys, I can also let you know I have already procured this year's disposable drone. I say disposable because, as many of you know, I tend to drown them in desolation sound. We'll see what we can do about that. This is the DJI Mini 2. This is a sub 250 gram drone, which means it does not need a license to fly it. I, however, have my drone license, so I'll be flying it responsibly. One nice thing about it, it comes with a much larger controller than previous small DJI drones. And I've added an extra feature. In fact, the mount for your phone that goes up here, I got this adapter so I can actually put my little iPad straight into this, and now I have a maximum view for that flying experience, and with any luck that will increase the chances of not drowning yet another drone.
Hi folks, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Today for Bug of the Week we're going to do something a little bit different because my guest this week is Peter Knowles, who has a channel that you might know, and I think you folks do like a beer thing usually.
Beer.
Anyway,
We're gonna drink beer. Can we drink beer?
We can't drink beer because I don't drink, but we do have instead something called birch beer.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, of course, yes.
I really
I'm so
appreciate.
glad.
I really appreciate that.
Love to give the little guy a leg up.
Yeah, no, I mean it's established. It's established shows like your own that are. Oh my gosh, it smells good.
Really?
Oh my god. Oh. That's crazy. Okay. We're gonna do another one here. We're gonna put the opener way down here on the floor. And thank you so much for taking us out on your boat.
Yes,
this is a real pleasure.
Yes.
Where are we anyway?
We are in front of some boatyard in the city I live in. We're underneath the big bridge.
That's in the city you live in.
That's in the city I live in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is an absolute elixir. My gosh, it's fantastic. Okay, I'm just going to play with your boat a little bit here to adjust so we don't run aground on this large concrete piling right here. All right, well, cheers. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely, yes, it's been a pleasure. Oh wow.
Instant addiction.
Yeah, this is neat. It's really cool.
That's absolutely fantastic. We didn't actually identify it. Shall we?
Well, I looked at the name and I was like, I can't pronounce that. It looks like Boylan.
Would you show it to your viewers?
Yes, good call. It's like you're a professional. Looks like Boylan Bottling Company since 1891.
Right.
Does that have to be true? Can they say EST dot any number?
I don't know how that stuff works.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, it's cane sugar birch beer. It is really cool. I'm really enjoying this.
I mean, it is root beer, uber root beer. Absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Of course. And I was wondering while you're here, is there anyone you wanted to shout out from your channel or?
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yes, any thanks you want to give? Or...
There are a few people I would like to mention. I wonder if you could hold my amazingly yummy birch beer. I'm going to do a little more twiddling with the motor here because there's a little rock that we have to deal with. All right. Well, if I was on my show right now, I would be giving away a T-shirt to who is this gentleman here?
That looks like Tim Stevenson.
Tim Stevenson. You have won a Travels with Geordie, which is my show, T-shirt for the word of the week that you had. This is soaking wet because it's been down in the bottom of your very wet boat. You know your boat leaks. So Tim Stevenson, get a hold of me and we'll make sure you get your Travels Story T-shirt. Also, I'd like to thank a number of patrons that have just joined up. Derek Hunter, Thomas Ruffer, Jesse Weston, and Manuel Gosling. I would assume that's how that's pronounced. Cheers to you all. Thank you ever so much for joining my show.
Thanks for joining his show.
And on PayPal, I'd like to send a huge thanks, actually, to Daniel Hellrung. Thank you ever so much, Daniel. That was very, very generous. Cheers.
Someone forgot the windsock. It was me, not him.
That's very true. All this talk about wind noise reduction and it wasn't managed on this particular thing.
Not even a windsock. The dead cat.
The dead cat.
I know everything about boats.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you too.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Well, fabulous. Is there anything that you do at the end of your episode to encourage people to engage?
Yes, there is. I ask my guest, if I have one, to give a word of the week that my viewers.
That's very clever.
Yes, I know,
oh my
right?
Gosh.
Such a good idea that I had.
Yeah.
And then they can use it in a comment and win a t-shirt.
Absolutely splendid.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pick splendid. What do they do?
Word.
What happens with splendid?
Anyone that uses it in a comment in a sentence gets a chance at winning a t-shirt next week.
Well, fabulous.
Yeah.
That worked out great. Splendid. Splendid is your word of the week.
Yes.
So glad to be a guest on your show. Thank you ever so much.
Yeah.
Cheers. And cheers to you all.
I should actually have a YouTube channel. So good at it. Victoria Harbor oysters.
We ducked into this last one.
There's a cool. Yeah, let's do it.
How low can I get?
Oh, the camera.
Wow! Oh my God.